dimensional travel, demon possession, spellcasting, and monsters threatening New York. All of these fantastic elements add up to an incredible adventure for the young and dazzling stage illusionist and spellcaster Zatanna, as she battles to rescue her father, the celebrated Golden Age hero John Zatara, from the clutches of an evil sorceress. Greetings and welcome to another installment of the DC Comics Silver and Bronze Age podcast. As usual, I'm your congenial host Larry, and I'll be your guide as we delve into DC Comics past, and together we will thrill to the adventures of your favorite DC Comics superheroes. Now, before we leap straight into the episode at hand, I want to extend a grateful thank you to everybody who recently boosted my subscription count for the channel on YouTube, and to the people who have already subbed and liked the episodes. It appears the Green Lantern episode is the highest liked video on the channel so far, so that's very much appreciated as well. It really means a lot to me to know that people are interested in what I have to say and what I have to offer about DC Comics' rich history, so it's very encouraging. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, please keep those likes, subs, and shares going for these upcoming episodes. It's very much appreciated, and so once again, thank you. Now, I suppose you fine folks out there could consider today's episode as a sort of a cheater, since the comic book featured is from a reprint title. Not only that, Zatanna made her first appearance in another title entirely. Now, you think that that's confusing, folks? Wait until we get further along. Nah, just kidding. Hopefully things will get straightened out as we explore the magic-wielding heroine Zatanna. As mentioned, DC Superstars number 11 from January of 1977 is an issue from a reprint title, combining three stories from Adventure Comics numbers 413, 414, and 415 from 1971 and 1972, in which Zatanna appeared as a backup feature at the time when Supergirl was the main character in that title. I can just imagine you folks out there thinking, well, Larry, why didn't you just feature the Adventure Comics issues where Zatanna appeared instead? Well, that's quite simple, really. As said, DC Superstars number 11 combines the three stories into one easy narrative. So for convenience sake, that's what we'll be focusing on. Now, before we take a look at the storyline in question, we should get better acquainted with Zatanna the Magician. Her first appearance in DC Silver Age continuity came in Hawkman number 4 from November of 1964. She was created by writer Gardner F. Fox and artist Murphy Anderson. In that comic, Zatanna Zatara enlisted the aid of the Winged Wonders Hawkman and Hawkgirl to find her father, John Zatara, the famous magician crime fighter from DC Comics' Golden Age. Her very first attempt at finding her father became a letdown, but Zatanna remained undaunted, continuing her quest, spanning multiple titles until she finally reunited with her father in Justice League of America number 51 from February of 1967. Ever since her debut and subsequent cameos in the 60s, Zatanna had made appearances in various titles in the 70s, including becoming a supporting character in Justice League of America, then becoming a full-fledged member of the group in Justice League of America number 161 from December of 1978. She remained a valued member of the superhero team through frequent membership roster changes, using her magical abilities alongside her comrades battling various villains and menaces, until the second-to-last issue in Justice League of America number 257 from December of 1986. In all that time, she had not received a title of her own, not even a miniseries during the 70s or 80s, unlike most of her fellow JLA members. Zatanna did, however, receive a special standalone issue in February of 1987. It has been said that Zatanna is one of the most powerful magic wielders in the DC universe, inheriting her powers from her parents. In tribute to her father, she casts her spells by speaking the incantations backwards. She has used her abilities to wield elemental forces to heal herself or others, to transmute and transmogrify objects, to manipulate weaker minds, and to attack opponents with energy blasts. Now that the history lesson of the character in question is out of the way, we'll begin at the beginning of the story involved. The story, titled in the reprint as Zatanna the Magician, was written by Len Wein. The art, inking, coloring, as well as the lettering was done by Gray Morrow, and the editor for the story was Joe Orlando. On a certain night at Shadowcrest, the spacious mansion Zatanna shares with her father, John Zatara is in his private chamber deep in study when he is attacked by demons. Zatanna is practicing her stage magic skills for the benefit of her new manager, Jeffrey Sloan. Unaware of what has happened to her father, Zatanna and Jeff go to talk with Zatara, who unexpectedly casts a spell on them, sending them to another dimension. Zatanna tries to undo the spell cast by her father, but knows her powers are not on the same level as her father himself. She and Jeff begin to travel by flying carpet through the dimensional world to find a juncture by which they can return to their own world when they are attacked by barbarian warriors. Forced back to ground, Zatanna and Jeff try to fight off the band of warriors but are overwhelmed and taken captive. They are escorted to an ancient stone hovel and are brought before an aged robed wizard named Varnu. He informs Zatanna that he is required by command to kill them. Zatanna and Jeff are brought to an imposing tower named the Tower of the Dead, so named because no one emerged from it alive. Zatanna tries to guide herself and her manager through the tower, but various perils prevent them from finding an exit. After fighting undead warriors, Zatanna and Jeff come across a giant with a gorgon head, who catches Jeff off guard, turning the unwary manager into stone. After overcoming the raging giant by sending him falling into an endless void, Zatanna finds the dimensional juncture, transporting Jeff in stone form and herself back to their own realm, where the effects of the stone spell are reversed. They are followed by otherworldly demons, and after defeating them, Zatanna learns from one of the little creatures that her father is out to conquer the world. Using her magic, Zatanna and Jeff confront Zatara in Manhattan, where the altered magician has summoned monsters to attack the city. Zatanna confronts her father, anguished that she may have to either defeat him or even destroy him to save the city from destruction. She suspects there is an evil influence making Zatara destructive and comes to a quick plan to expose the true culprit. Using an old but effective sleight-of-hand trick, Zatanna renders her father unconscious, which causes the monsters he conjured to vanish instantly, as well as forcing out the possessing spirit who caused the troubles in the first place. The Maid of Magic recognizes the evil spirit belonging to Allura, an old enemy of John Zatara, who possessed her enemy through her demons. The Maiden of Magic entraps the evil spirit inside a magic bottle, imprisoning Allura. To her relief, Zatanna sees her father recovering from his experiences, and then, with their enemy rendered helpless, all three go back to Shadowcrest. Wow, talk about an action-packed magical wonder ride, huh, folks? You know, it really was too bad Zatanna didn't get her own series during the 70s or in the 80s. I think it would have been quite a kick to see her fighting off magical enemies and fighting crime. I suppose DC editorial didn't figure she was really popular enough to warrant that kind of privilege. Certainly, Len Wein and Gray Morrow could have been given the assignment, and readers would have seen how it went. I'm pretty sure the stories would have been exciting and worth plunking down the change to buy them. Oh well, such as the daydreams of comic book fans, I guess. Speaking of the art, it wouldn't be right that we could not spend some time spotlighting the artist in question, Gray Morrow. So how about we do that now, shall we? What can be said about the legendary artist Gray Morrow? Paperback novel cover illustrator, sexy pinup artist extraordinaire, and even art director and layout artist for animation. Gray Morrow was a very busy artist indeed. Mainly known for his work for various comic companies, drawing romance, western, and supernatural comics, Gray Morrow would start work for DC Comics, drawing several supernatural fantasy stories for DC Comics' Witching Hour, House of Secrets, and House of Mystery, as well as a smattering of romance and superhero tales. For those listeners who might not know, in addition to comics, Morrow in the 1960s and 70s was an illustrator for many science fiction magazines, with examples of his work gracing most of the covers of the American version of the Perry Rhodan paperback book series. Additionally, he drew for the satirical humor magazine The National Lampoon. I have to say the art for the storyline Zatanna the Magician is top-notch, with every panel depicting action scenes with remarkable quality and skill. The supernatural aspects of this tale are tailor-made for an exceptional artist like Gray Morrow, making those elements come alive and thrilling with every menace Zatanna faced and ultimately defeated on her way to rejoining her possessed father, restoring him to normal and defeating their mutual adversary, Allura. I must say, without reservation, Gray Morrow is one of my favorite artists who worked for DC Comics, and every comic he worked on was a visual treat. Well, enough gushing about the artwork. Now, up next, as with the other previous podcast episodes, I want to highlight some notable events which happened during January of 1977. I'm starting to notice another pattern here. Could it be that not only are we having February as a recurrent month, but also January as well? Sometime soon, ladies and gentlemen, I'll try my damnedest to spotlight totally different months in comics. At any rate, let's look at the rundown for the month of January in 1977. Now, one of the events in January, the world's first all-in-one home computer, keyboard, screen, tape storage, the Commodore PET, or PET, is demonstrated at the Consumer Electronics Show in Chicago. January the 3rd, Apple Computer is incorporated. January the 6th, record company EMI drops the controversial United Kingdom punk rock group the Sex Pistols. January the 8th, 3 bombs explode in Moscow within 37 minutes, killing 7 people. The bombings are attributed to an Armenian separatist group. January the 9th, after having the best record in the National Football League since Al Davis took over his team in 1963, the Oakland Raiders finally won their first world championship by beating the Minnesota Vikings 32-14 in Super Bowl XI. January the 10th, Mount Nyiragongo erupts in eastern Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. January the 17th, Gary Gilmore is executed by firing squad in Utah, the first execution after the reintroduction of the death penalty in the United States. Also on January the 17th, 49 Marines from the USS Trenton and USS Guam perished in the waters of the Barcelona harbor. January the 18th, scientists identify a previously unknown bacterium as the cause of the mysterious Legionnaire's disease. Also on that day, Australia's worst railway disaster in Granville near Sydney leaves 83 people dead. January the 19th, U.S. President Gerald Ford, on his final full day in office, pardons Eva Tuguri Diaguino, a.k.a. Tokyo Rose. Also on that day, snow falls in Miami despite its ordinarily tropical climate for the only time in its history. Snowfall has occurred farther south in the United States, only on the high mountains of the state of Hawaii. January the 20th, Jimmy Carter is sworn in as the 39th President of the United States. January the 21st, U.S. President Jimmy Carter pardons Vietnam War draft evaders. January the 23rd, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi of India calls for fresh elections to the Lok Sabha and releases all political prisoners. January the 24th, the massacre of Atocha occurs during the Spanish transition to democracy. January the 28th, the Great Lakes blizzard of 1977 hits Buffalo, New York, and the Niagara region of southern Ontario. Now, so much for the events in world history during that time. As per usual, on the entertainment front, 1977 became a very profitable year for films during the 70s. So let's take a look at the top grossing films of that year, starting in descending order, up to the number 1 spot. Now we have, at number 10, Annie Hall from United Artists, number 9, Oh God from Warner Brothers, number 8, The Spy Who Loved Me from United Artists, number 7, The Deep from Columbia, number 6, A Bridge Too Far from United Artists. Number 5, The Goodbye Girl from Warner Brothers. Number 4, Saturday Night Fever from Paramount. Number 3, Close Encounters of the Third Kind by Columbia. Number 2, Smokey and the Bandit from Universal. And the number one spot goes to the biggest sci-fi movie of the 70s, perhaps of all time, as well as bringing this young writer-director into recognition not only in Hollywood but also with the movie-going public. And that film, of course, is Star Wars from 20th Century Fox, written, produced, and directed by George Lucas. Other notable films in distribution during that time were Airport 77, The Bad News Bears in Breaking Training, Black Sunday, The Duelists, Exorcist II, The Heretic, Fun with Dick and Jane, The Gauntlet, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, The Hobbit, an animated film, The Kentucky Fried Movie, Pete's Dragon, Pumping Iron, Slapshot, Suspiria, and The Turning Point. As far as television was concerned during 1977, some significant events took place, like, for example, January the 3rd, Holly Hallstrom becomes the third model on the CBS game show The Price is Right, along with Janice Pennington and Diane Parkinson. This lineup would remain unchanged for the next 13 years until Kathleen Bradley joined in 1990. January the 15th, Bill Murray joins the cast of NBC's Saturday Night Live, replacing Chevy Chase, who left the previous year. January the 21st, The Hardy Boys Nancy Drew Mysteries premieres on ABC, featuring teen detectives Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. The series alternates between the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew each week, with Pamela Sue Martin as Nancy Drew and Parker Stevenson and Sean Cassidy as Frank and Joe Hardy. February the 4th, American Bandstand celebrates its 25th anniversary on television with a special hosted by Dick Clark and telecast by ABC. An all-star band made up of Chuck Berry, Seals and Crofts, Greg Allman, Junior Walker, Johnny Rivers, the Pointer Sisters, Charlie Daniels, Doc Severinsen, Les McCann, Donald Byrd, Chuck Mangione, and three members of Booker T and the MGs perform Roll Over Beethoven. March the 1st, the CBS game show Match Game is named the number one rated game show on television for the 5th year in a row. August the 16th, television stations nationwide interrupt regular programming following the news of the death of Elvis Presley. Oh, this is a cute one, folks. October the 24th, a new Peanuts special, It's Your First Kiss, Charlie Brown, airs on CBS. It shows and names Heather, the little red-haired girl, whom Charlie Brown has had a crush on for years, thereupon ending the mystery involving her real name. November the 30th, CBS commentator Eric Sevareid bade farewell in his final 2-minute segment on the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite after 48 years at CBS News. And finally, December the 2nd, Billy Crystal sets a winning circle record by getting the contestant to the top of the pyramid in 26 seconds on ABC's The $20,000 Pyramid. The record still stands today. Also, for particular note, one of the greatest TV miniseries of all time, Roots, premiered on January the 23rd, 1977. Roots received 37 Primetime Emmy Award nominations and won 9. It also won a Golden Globe and a Peabody Award. The legendary miniseries received unprecedented Nielsen ratings for the finale, which still holds a record as the third highest rated episode for any type of television series, and the second most watched overall series finale in U.S. television history. Also, on the pop music scene during 1977, according to Billboard magazine, from descending order, we have the top 10 most popular hits, and number 10, Andy Gibb with I Just Want to Be Your Everything. Number 9, Queen with We Are the Champions. Number 8, Santa Esmeralda with Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. Number 7, Debbie Boone with You Light Up My Life. Number 6, Baccara with Yes Sir I Can Boogie. Number 5, Paul McCartney and Wings with Mull of Kintyre. Number 4, Donna Summer with I Feel Love. Number 3, Boney M with Ma Baker. Number 2, The Bee Gees with How Deep Is Your Love. And the number 1 hit single for 1977, according to Billboard magazine, was from this popular American band from Los Angeles, California, the Eagles, with Hotel California. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for this episode of the podcast. Before I say goodbye, I would like to thank everybody once again who listened to this, and I invite you to stick around with me as I continue this podcast. If you would be so kind, please like and subscribe to this channel for more episodes, and if you have any comments or suggestions, then please feel free to post them in the comment section below. It would be greatly appreciated. So until next time, everyone, this is Larry, aka the Charming Curmudgeon. So long for now.